So, do you remember when you and I first met?
Yeah.
And do you remember what I look like?
Yes. You're nice and skinny and tall, lean, and quite attractive, I might add.
Oh, well, thank you.
We're certainly.
When you and I first met, I was eating junk. I was eating cookies, cake. I mean, junk all the time. All the time. I was eating a pint of vanilla ice cream with a ton of gummy bears dumped in. So it would be a pint. Mm-hmm. I would scoop off, the top layer, add gummy bears, eat that with the ice cream. Then I'd dig down a little deeper, pour it in, eat it up, and do that until it was gone. And that's quite embarrassing to say now because I've been, sugar-free for over 7 years now. But looking back, I think to myself, how was I able to maintain that weight but yet still eat?
Yeah, well, when you're 27, a lot of people, when they're 27, can still tolerate foods like that. And it's not because they're young, per se, but it's because more about the organs are still working properly. Now, when you were that age, you were beating up on your organs, but because the organs were still so young, they were able to handle that. So you were forcing them to run at redline by eating that ice cream and gummy bears, but they could handle redline. So you, for instance, would have possibly gained a pound or two a year, and you would have gotten bigger for sure on that. It just gets harder for the organs to keep up, because when you're eating that stuff, you're forcing the organs to work overtime, namely the pancreas and the liver, and they're willing to do it when you're that age. But as you get older, they start to wear out because you're forcing them to work so hard for so many years. And this is what people claim is age-related metabolism, is because they've beat up their organs for all that time. You forced them into redline all that time, and they're just wearing out. And the organs are saying, I just can't do the job that I used to do for you when you were 27. And so now I'm still doing my best, but I'm wearing out, and I can't keep up. And so then the weight gain is faster through those years, and it just starts to accelerate and speeds up, which is one of the great reasons for young people starting to eat well, as young as so then they're preserving their organs.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. And I get asked this question all the time, and people say to me, oh, if I'm talking to someone who's, 55 or whatever, they'll just say, oh, my metabolism is slowing down so much, and I haven't changed the way that I eat, and I still exercise, and da-da-da-da. Yeah. So explain to me how the metabolism is correlated to age. And so let's compare my metabolism the way that it is right now and my metabolism the way that it was when I was 27 back then. Mm-hmm. And let's say 10 years down the road from now that I'm eating keto, mm-hmm. what will my metabolism look like 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road?
Well, the human biology dictates a slower metabolism with age because organs are going to wear out no matter what. And as we get older, if we're living optimal health the entire time, our metabolism should only slow down 2% per decade after we turn 30. So in other words, when you are 80, your metabolism should have slowed down about 10%. If it's slowed down more than that, it's because of what you did to your body.
And that's not reversible.
And you've worn it out faster. Most of it is not reversible as far as organs regenerating and coming back, except for certain organs, like the liver. It's really good at regenerating to a point. But some of it is reversible. So somebody who eats perfectly from the time they're born till the time they're 80 is going to have a 10% slower metabolism than when they were 30. Just because organs wear down for other reasons too. Mm-hmm. Toxins that we breathe, there's lots of different reasons. But if we're beating up those organs along the way and forcing them to work harder than they need to, then it speeds that process up. And then people say, oh yeah, my metabolism is not what it used to be. I'm eating the exact same things I did when I was 30, but now that I'm 60, those same foods are taking a toll now on I'm gaining weight from those exact same foods. Well, those are the same foods that beat your metabolism up from 30 to 60. So now you've got your metabolism in your organs. The liver has over 100 metabolic functions. So just that alone, just beating the liver up alone, is enough to slow your metabolism down. So it's not their age that did it.
It's what you eat.
It's how they treated their organs and the resulting metabolism that did it. And the other thing is, as people age and as time goes on in our society, food gets worse. So the food they were eating when they were 30 might look like the same food. It might have the same label on it, but it's GMO now.
And the molecular structure is completely different.
Yeah. And 30 years ago, our soil was more potent. So there's more vitamins and minerals from the food that we grew. Exact same food, but it's really not.
Which is what you're saying puts more stress on the liver and the organs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, especially GM food, non-organic stuff is getting worse, pesticides, fertilizers, all those things. And it puts a lot more stress. Plus, we're not getting the vitamins and minerals, so it's not as nutrient dense. And when a food is more nutrient dense, it has a higher impact on our metabolism. And we're eating our metabolism. So if you ate 2,000 calories of Twinkies, your metabolism's going to tank. If you ate 2,000 calories of broccoli, your metabolism's going to skyrocket. Same calories, different foods, and different effect on your short-term metabolism and long-term metabolism, because the Twinkies are poison, and they're going to wear your liver out faster, and they're going to wear your pancreas out faster. But the broccoli's not going to do that. The broccoli is going to nurture the liver and pancreas, make them healthier because of the micronutrients, and the lack of stress on those organs. So it's a completely different food. Same calories, totally different outcome.
In essence, if I'm eating 2,000 calories of broccoli, my liver's like, hee woohoo! If I was eating 2,000 calories of Twinkies in one sitting or even in one day, my liver would go, start to freak out, not work optimally, and wouldn't those wouldn't those calories get stored immediately as bad fat?
Pretty much. I mean, the liver is going to see the Twinkies that you're eating as poison. And liver takes care of poison. And so it processes it for us to keep us safe. So it freaks out. It's really hard for the liver to process poison. So now it's working overdrive, red line, and it has to process all that stuff to keep you safe. And the liver, along with the other organs, take that fat and those, which is trans fat, and those chemicals, which are poison, in the Twinkie, and they say, okay, well, we got to put this somewhere. Where's the safest storage facility? Fat cells. Yeah. So it stores it there. Now your fat cells are toxic. Now you're safe for the time being, but down the road in the future, when the body's looking for fat cells to liberate to burn off as energy, it sees the toxins in there. It says, nope, not gonna do it. And it makes it really hard to burn off fat. So your metabolism is depressed because the liver's worn out from the Twinkies, from working so hard on those. Plus, your fat cells are toxic now, so it's harder to liberate them. You put those two things together, and there's your age-related metabolism.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, but broccoli, on the other hand, organic, your liver sees that come in, and it says, oh, thank you, I can relax. I don't have to do anything. That's not poison. And it does what it should do, what it's used to doing, and what it's really good at, and helps your metabolism process that. Plus, the nutrients that you've eaten with the broccoli, instead of the poisons with the Twinkie, will nurture the liver and add to it. So broccoli actually regenerates damaged liver, while Twinkie damages it further. Same number of calories, completely different effect.
So would you say that, because I was just watching a video on detox, or a YouTube video, whatever, would you say that the broccoli naturally detoxifies the liver with those nutrients, or is that not true?
Broccoli is a detox food. Any green vegetable is a very potent, organic green vegetable is a very potent detox food.
So if someone wanted to detox their liver, they could just drink green juice for a few days. That would be a really great
That would
detox.
be a way to do it. Anytime you're taking in valuable vitamins and minerals faster than you're taking in toxins, you're detoxing. Anytime you're taking in toxins faster than valuable vitamins and minerals, nutrients that help you, you're toxifying yourself and you're getting more toxic. And that's what most people in this country do, which is what's straining their organs and therefore their metabolism and putting their metabolism in the tank.
Even like people for you and I, like you and I, who eat really well, who exercise, who, I feel like we have a pretty healthy lifestyle. There are still outside factors that we can't control that are still affecting us in my opinion, in a negative way. And even I would like to know how to, just as an experiment, learn if there's any way that I can detoxify my liver even more to see if I feel different, to see if my body burns fuel differently,
Yep. Everybody's detoxing to a certain point because the body's just really good at that. As we get older and beat up our organs with processed food and chemicals and things like that, our body gets worse at that. If we take in more good nutrients than toxins, we're detoxing. And drinking lots of water to get rid of it. Detoxing doesn't necessarily have to be a kit. Now, some of those do work. However, the problem with it is they don't explain adequately how to get those toxins out of your body once they're released. Now you got all these toxins released from those cells and they're floating around in the body. And if you don't get rid of them with this very specific protocol or strategy, what happens? They just settle back in where they came from. By the way, when that happens, you feel really crappy because they're floating around. Now they're liberated mostly from the fat cells. And you're going, oh my gosh, it's working, because they say, oh, you're going to feel really crappy. It's working. This is great, but I feel really crappy. And then they just settle back in without the proper protocols, like proper elimination, pee it out, poo it out, and sweat it out. So those are the main ways.
Oh, that's right.
But you got to get them out, especially once you release them. Got to get those suckers out because they can be even more harmful once they're released and floating around. Because instead of back in the day when you were building up slowly with those toxins and they were slowly floating around as you took them in, now you've released them all at once. Now you're just full of it. And you're like, oh, and that's why people feel so crappy, because they're so full of these toxins.
They're so full of crap.
Yeah, exactly. And now those toxins need somewhere to go, and they need somewhere to go fast as soon as possible. So you go to the sauna. Infrared's the best, but any sauna's great. That's great. Hot yoga is actually a really good way to sweat stuff out.
I almost died when we did hot yoga.
I know, I had to kick you out of the room. And
so nice.
But when you're sweating or peeing, you've got to have good, clean water coming in. Filtered water, not tap. So you're mega drinking. A gallon a day is great. If you're sweating a lot, like hot yoga, or it's summer and you're working out hard, it can be more than that. It can be too much too, because 2-3 gallons for some people can even be as little as that much can be too much, where you're washing out your electrolytes. You got to make sure you're bringing in electrolytes to equal out what's going out. But water's a great way to do it if you do it right. And colon hydrotherapy. You got to do that the right way too. That's actually the best way, because the most effective, potent way for the body to get rid of toxins is to poo it out.
That's right.
And so going to the right person, like our buddy, that we send people to. But heck, if you're doing a super strong, aggressive detox program, you should do all three. So you should be doing the colon hydrotherapy, you should be doing sweating like crazy, drinking tons and tons of water, eating your electrolytes to balance that out, and with the tons and tons of water. You're going to be peeing a lot, so you peeing a lot out too. You're just flushing that stuff out. That's the proper detox.
And bad fat is obviously toxins as well.
Yeah, trans fat, margarine, fake fat, man-made
Yeah.
fat. Oh yeah, that's toxic. But again, water is important, the quality of the water. Because remember, if you're taking in toxins faster than you're taking in nutrients, then you're getting more toxic. And tap water is pretty darn toxic. Now here in Kirkland, Washington, we have some of the best water in the country. But it's still toxic.
And it still has chlorine and fluoride.
Yes, those are the two biggies.
Yes.
There's lots of other stuff in there too.
Yes.
But those are the two biggies. And so chlorine's fantastic to keep us from getting sick from drinking our water. But once it gets to the tap, it needs to come out because it shouldn't go in our bodies. Fluoride has no business being in the water supply. That's a whole, and it's not actually fluoride. But that's a whole another topic. So the best, and it's a toxin, just like chlorine. They're very toxic. So filtered water to get all that stuff out, so it's just H2O coming in, is a great way to detox, especially if you're sweating a lot and peeing a lot, to get those toxins out. Just really good, clean food, organic, especially green vegetables. That's a detox. You and I are detoxing all the time because of the food that we choose to eat. And so our organs are chilling out and not getting worse. So as we age, our metabolism won't decline nearly as much as 90% of the other people out there who are eating processed foods and non-organic stuff and drinking non-filtered water. So when people call us militant fanatics, it's like, well, yeah, let's talk about that in 50 years. If you're still around, let's have the same conversation. And let's compare abs, let's compare skin, let's compare eyesight, let's compare metabolism, and then see who's talking.
Which, by the way, I just went to the eye doctor a few months ago, and my eyesight did improve.
It got better?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not supposed to happen. With age, it's supposed to get worse.
Yeah. That was very eye-opening to me.
Eye-opening.
Yes, very eye-opening. But it was cool to, and he said, have you changed anything since you had your eyes checked? I said, yeah, just my entire lifestyle. You know, I told him I'm keto, and he was like, oh, wow. But another question, one more. If we were to go, where would we find an infrared sauna? I know that infrared saunas are kind of hard to find. If they can't find an infrared, how long do they need to stay in a normal sauna in order to gain the benefits?
It totally varies per person because some people are born sweaters, other people not so much. Because my profuse sweating is going to be a lot more than your profuse sweating. So if we stay in 10 minutes past the point where we both start sweating profusely, I'm going to lose a pound and you're going to lose 7 ounces. It's too hard to even recommend for anybody because if I say 10 minutes, that might be too much for somebody, and somebody else it's not going to be nearly enough. So it's just, you got to try it and see. And it would be helpful to weigh yourself. So when you go in there, come out every so often and step on the scale. And if you're down a pound, then it shouldn't be more than a pound in a sauna on the first time. But then again, for a small person who's already dehydrated, a pound is way too much. So you and I would start with 1 pound and see how we feel. And then hydrate back so we've more than hydrated back what we lost. And then next day or 2 days later, we go try it again and try a little more than a pound. Not a pound and a half, just a little more. Just inch up that way. Always judging how we feel after, that day and the day after. And then decide for ourselves what's optimal. But making sure that we're hydrating before we go in and we're rehydrating everything and more after we get out.
Someone else might say, hypothetically speaking, oh, well, each person should do 10 minutes or each person should do 40 minutes.
I know.
And
There's too many prescriptions out there. Even from a doctor who's specializes in sweating shouldn't be giving specific prescriptions. They should be advising their patients to try stuff, starting out really conservative, and see how you feel, and replenishing, and all that kind of stuff. Because there's no one diet for everybody. There's no one way to do saunas for everybody. There's no one way to detox for everybody.
There's no sweat doctor.
There's no one sweat doctor in the whole plant. Well, I shouldn't say that. I bet there is somewhere. Anybody's really into hot yoga. But that's another way and that can be effective for detoxing through sweat.
If you can handle it.
If you can handle it. But same rule. You got to go in hydrated, and you got to replenish more than what you just sweat out when you're done. Not guzzling it all at one time, because you can't absorb that. But over the next 4 or 5 hours, constant replenishment, and making sure you're not overhydrating, overhydrating, because then you're washing out those electrolytes. It's not something to mess around with. You got to really do it right.
Nobody got time for that.
Mm-mm. And you got to research it.
No, ask the internet.
And figure it out for yourself. Take responsibility for yourself, because no one can tell you a specific formula. You got to try it out. You do your own experimental model. You got to do your own experiments, and you got to find out what's right for you, for your particular health and metabolism that's different from everyone else on the planet.
Okay, guess what?
Tell me.
I'm really thirsty.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Talking about water all this?
Yeah.
All this much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some water.
I'm gonna go get some water.
From the Berkey filter, and that's when put through the zero filter.
People ought to know that your water comes from the tap to the Berkey, through the zero filter, into water bottles and cups.
Into stainless or glass water bottles and cups.
Yes.
Militant fanatic.
Yes.
But hey, in 50 years, when we talk to those people who call us militant fanatic, and we still look this old, then who'll be talking? Yeah, and you have nice skin, and that's a good indicator of health, because your skin is the largest organ in your body, and one organ usually tells the same story about the other organs. So if your skin is nice, that's an indicator, not a guarantee, but an indicator.
Can you see it?
That your other organs are
it?
nice. Yes, I like it.
Okay, we're done. That thing just went crazy.
The flashes when the sound level's too high.
I can make it dance.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make it up more.
Get some water.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.